Well, grab a seat, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
D and Davis, the flip. This is a special episode right here. We've got a lot of guests coming up, and a brother smacked us and was like, "Hold up, I have not been on the show." And we were sitting there like, he kind of caught us with our jaws open when he said he hadn't been on the show.
Yeah, he did.
And sometimes when you're moving too fast, you forget to give props to your bro. So when he did that, it was great that he did it. But then this week, Tony hit us up and was like, "This brother's going to New York." And D's like, D was saying this week, "Can we get you on this week?" And D immediately was like, "All right, we got to try to get him on." And that person, and you can hear his voice right now, is Camron Smith. Cameron.
Oh, hey. Glad to be here.
I'm older, but you in a way, you kind of my bigger bro. I mean, cause that's one thing cool, real quick, about being in Chicago with all of the media, but in particularly over these last few years with the brothers, it has been a nice partnership, camaraderie. It's one thing that you really, sometimes when you sit back and think about it, it's like, this is one of the dopest parts of the whole thing. Yeah. And that's what I appreciate. But you, sir.
Yes.
You will be on MSG 150.
Yes.
Big time right
That
here.
is going to be from on Mondays through Thursdays, 8 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Cameron's going to be on there breaking down some sports. You're going to be on there with like 3 or 4 other people. Who are the people that's going to be on there?
The guests, John Wallace used to play at Syracuse.
I thought that was John Wallace. I said, that looked like
was
John
in He Got
Wallace.
Game. You know, I Got Hops. You remember that?
Yeah,
Raising the Room.
yeah.
So he'll be one of the rotating sports personalities. Monica McNutt, who I did a overtime simulcast with. So overtime in the Knicks. Did an NBA simulcast back in March 15th. We were over in New York. We did that. So she's going to be another one. Bill Pito, longtime anchor for MSG Network.
Okay.
All right. Alan Hahn, who does a lot of Knicks stuff over for MSG Network as well. And Julianne Vianney will be with us as well, man. So that'll be the rotation for this first week.
Named them all.
So we're excited about it, man. And it's funny because just, you know how it is in terms of chemistry, right? Especially when you're doing anything production, television, radio, whatever it is, you want to make sure that the chemistry is there. So we had our first rehearsals this past Wednesday in New York. And I think more of the executives at MSGN were worried about what the chemistry was going to be like. So they got us all in a room and just say, yeah, you guys just talk this, that, and the third. Man, we ended up shooting probably about a week's worth of content just on the conversations we were having alone on just the NBA draft lottery and what's happening with the NBA playoffs. So that chemistry was instantly there, which shocked me because you don't find that when it comes to the business, right? I mean, you guys have been around, you know, you've done different shows and had guests on, whatever it is. It's just like, oh, man, I don't know how I'm going to stretch this out or I don't know if this is going to work. It was the complete opposite for us, man. So I was like, damn, this is super nice, man. So we got a text thread going, and every day now I had to put it on Do Not Disturb.
Damn.
Like, it's going hard like that.
It's going hard like that. Just like, you know what I'm saying, with the jokes, you know what I'm saying, with the show content ideas, all of that stuff, man. So I think it's going to be really, really nice and really dope what we're going to do start next week.
So what's the meat and potatoes of this show?
The meat and potatoes is focused on New York City sports, all right? So it's not just dealing with the NBA. It's also baseball. It's also football. Some hockey in there as well, all right? So it's focusing on so many teams, professional sports teams in the New York area because it's MSGN. They got to, you know what I'm saying, you got to make sure you cater to that first. But then also on the outside, we'll talk on some national issues as well going on in sports like the NBA playoffs or this past NFL draft, what happened with that, what teams are deciding, how that impacts certain teams in New York as well, right? So with the Giants, with their selection
Daniel
of the QB,
Jones.
Daniel Jones. Not a lot of people happy about that. And then even with the Knicks coming up, right? So the rumors about KD going to New York, well, I don't know if it's Brooklyn or the Knicks, but, you know, a lot of people in New York want it to be the Knicks. All right. Could Kyrie Irving join them? Could they get a top 3 pick? Could they get the number 1 pick and draft Zion? So those are the conversations that we'll grow and have that will still keep it centered and focused on New York, but also we'll touch on a lot of national issues as well. So
I'm Kenneth Davis.
I'm Damon Spurl.
Real quick, I want all the happiness to come to you. But if you go there, because one, you probably getting KD. Like, so you're going there and getting KD. But if you get Zion too,
listen, man.
Cam Abinami's going to be like, damn it, Cam. Like, you had to take all the Chicago.
And I was gonna be like, so guys, I'm got a brownstone in Brooklyn now. I'll just call it.
Exactly.
I'm gonna come out like Dave Chappelle, like, you know, he's acting like Diddy with the white robe on and everything. You know what I'm saying? Have somebody hop on somebody back and walk me over to the station. No, but I'll be like commuting back and forth to Chicago, so not permanently moving to New York right now. But you know what I'm saying? If it's the Lord's will, then you know things are pans out. So you never know. But I'm excited about it.
So how you're a family man? How is this going to affect the family? How did you and the wife talk about this moving Chicago for?
Man, the biggest thing, man, that I will always say is that my career would not be possible without my wife. And that's not me trying to get some brownie points, but that's 100% what it was. So I got to give her credit for one, being as supportive and loyal as she is, because we had a serious conversation years ago when we seriously started dating. All right. So we were just like, okay, well, she wanted to go in healthcare. That was where her career was going to take her. I wanted to go in sports broadcasting. And I was like dead set on that. That wasn't like a backup plan for me. That's what I wanted to do. All right. So it was more so the fact that I wanted to bring it to her point of view or her perspective or her just, attention that, look, if something happens where I have to move, then I'm not sure what the relationship is going to be like. And she said this, straight face. My wife is from South Side Chicago, from Roseland. So she was just like, look, the only way I'm moving with you is either if I'm engaged or we're married. That's the only way. I'm like, all right, cool. I respect that. You know what I'm saying? So along that path of the ups and the downs of my career, she's been 100% loyal, supportive, and never wavered. So again, I got to give her love. Lisa, that's her name. Outstanding woman. And again, man, behind every strong man is a strong woman.
And vice versa.
And vice versa. Exactly.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true. On the side, whatever, right side, left side, however you want to put it, right?
Vice versa.
All right, but definitely, she is someone that fully supports me and was super excited when she found out the news that this MSG 150 thing is popping off. So
That's what's up.
My
it's big.
baby is going to New York.
Yeah,
right.
I had to call my mom, and she called her friends and aunties and all the old people on Facebook, right? So I'm like, getting all the comments and stuff on.
What channel is
right,
that?
Exactly, right. And my grandfather's like, how can I watch it? I'm like,
Can we
well,
watch it here?
If we got
it'll
sports
be
package.
streaming. It'll be streaming.
probably
It'll be
have
streaming.
it.
Yeah, I'll make sure.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, if I have like the sports channel package at
probably have
Comcast, could we possibly already have it without streaming it? We could stream
Possibly. I'll double check on that, but I'll make sure that all that information is out when we
cool.
hit it off on Monday.
Dude, there. One thing that's good about Chicago, there are a lot of black sports reporters, anchors, reporters. So I will say it's not a place where it's like, damn, why isn't he getting his shot here? Because there are a lot of people, we don't want to diss them, but for you to put in the work with Comcast Network 100 and then with CBS, the way you've done and the type of star you are, you deserve to move on, man.
I appreciate
It's
that,
dope. Like,
man.
It's like
I
it's one of those
appreciate
things.
that.
It's like
Yeah.
you
Hard work paying off.
Yeah,
it was one of those things where, for me, it was a nice kind of wink from the big guys in New York. I mean, Chicago's in the top 3 market. We know this. This is a big city, a lot of sports, all of that stuff, right? It's one thing to make it in Chicago, but it's another thing to open up the eyes for the people in New York.
It is.
Right? So I'm like, okay, well, if they see something in me,
It's
then
the
I must be
truth.
doing something right.
It's the
So I'm like,
facts.
man, this 10 years is finally paying off right now.
Look, real quick shout outs. You look at what Domity left to go to NY
Yes.
with MTV. This week, Montez said he's going to Georgia to report. And then also, someone has been on the show, been here. We record out at 6-7 to score. Producer Eli Herchovich is getting a job. He's moving to Philadelphia. There's a lot of people making moves, but again, you were at the top. When we found out, when to see that one was dope. Like that,
I
that's
appreciate
dope.
that.
That was a great text to
How
get.
did
But
it start?
not Jason Golf as well.
Good point.
Jason Golf
got
just hooked up with
the deal with
ESPN
ESPN.
1000.
We
So
heard him
that's
coming
big.
in.
We heard him coming in.
Definitely
Good
big.
point. Good point. So how did this kind of start coming about with you and MSG? When did it start to seem like the signals were going that way? You did do some co-hosting on the Jam recently.
right.
So just getting even more well-rounded and stuff. How did that go? But then how did you end up with MSG?
You know what?
At
If
MSG.
I try to explain that and said it was something on my own doing, I would be lying. I mean, obviously, you put in the work, you expect certain results, right? And I've always been consistent and hardworking and all that. All the little adjectives that you want to throw to kind of big yourself up a little bit, or just kind of at the same time be realistic about who you are and how you built your career. But for me to have just this overflow of blessings, and that's what I call them. I mean, my family's very religious. I'm religious as well. More spiritual though. You know what I'm saying? So believe in God, all of those things. But it's been more so of those things that I can't explain. Right. Okay. So again, I've been in the business 10 years. Right. Since 2019 has kicked off, it feels like everything has been on steroids. And so to get to the story about how MSG 150 came about, I met a guy through a mutual friend. All right. We work on a show called A Taste Of. All right, it's a social media show, viral show that we do, just focusing on Chicago artists, music artists, right? So the guy's name is Evan Marshall, and Evan and I just kind of hit it off just the first time we met, just talking back and forth, and then he's like, "Hey, man, I got a guy that works for Overtime in New York, my guy Brandon Rhodes, right? He wants me to kind of see if anybody in Chicago is like a sports personality or anchor or has done like commentary or anything like that, because they're trying to build something with Overtime because they have this partnership with the Knicks." So I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I can send you my reel and all of that. Sent it to him. Maybe 3 days later, his guy from Overtime, Brandon, hits me up. It's like, "Oh yeah, I got your information from Evan. I saw your reel. Let's talk." Week later, we talk. All right, that grows into a conversation with the executives over at Overtime, and they bring me in to a screen test for one of the on-air hosts or one of the show hosts for the simulcast for the Knicks-Lakers game that happened on March 15th. So again, as I mentioned at the top, Monica McNutt was my co-host. We hit it off, instant chemistry. She's like super cool from DC. Does a lot of things with Fox Sports and women's college basketball on the color commentary side. Also some show hosting as well. So we hit it off, and then when we were going through our rehearsals at MSG Network, the MSG Network executives were there because this is the first time that they're doing something like this, right? So they're like on pins and needles, not knowing what we're going to say, what we're going to do, how this game is going to go, what this broadcast is going to be like, or what the production is going to be like. So it was more so of them just trying to get a feel of who Monica and I were, and they walked away impressed, even after we finished the game. So we made the contact, email me, you know how that goes in the business. Email me, yeah, we'll keep in touch. Bro, like maybe a week and a half later, they're like, yeah, we want you guys to come and be a part of the show MSG 150. And so think about that. Like from January, from those conversations with Evan and connecting with Brandon and then the people with Overtime to MSGN and now MSG 150 and doing some co-hosting with the Jam. It's just been like, yo, I can't even wrap my head around what's going on, right? Again, I can't explain it, but it's something that's a higher power that I believe that's working on.
You put in the work too.
Yeah.
I mean, even going along with
that.
the higher power, if the road is set for you, you have to walk that path.
Yeah.
And you've put in the work and walked the path that was set, and you're reaping the benefits of what you've accomplished.
Yeah, and I always like to go to the point of what Ken and I, we've been doing this now for about 7-8 years, starting off working together and arguing about sports in our break room, and then going to school for doing online shows, and to the point right now where we're blessed enough to say we record our podcast, record the show out of 670 The Score, and been on Overtime. But even to you, Cameron, just talk about a little bit, if you can, just the struggle in those 10 years, some of the lows, some of the highs. But you know what I'm saying, I always like to talk to people about the struggles, the actual grinding, the late nights, the missing of birthdays, the missing of going out and hanging out with your boys or your buddies, whatever like that. Just talk about that a little bit. Let everybody know the actual struggles to get to the point you're at right now.
It's about to get real dark.
No, go ahead.
It's about to get real dark. And when you get dark, you get real, right? So for me, I played ball in high school and college. I played at Southern Illinois. Was there from 03 to 07.
Carbondale.
Carbondale.
Real Southern.
Yeah, right. Don't make the distinction with Evans.
A lot of Salukis up in here.
We not the Cougars. We the Salukis, all right?
I didn't even know they were the Cougars.
And a Saluki is an Egyptian dog. I know somebody's like, what the hell is a
Egyptian dog?
Saluki?
Yeah.
It's an Egyptian dog. Yeah, all right. So I played ball, some of the best basketball years of my life, and I didn't have the opportunity to get an internship, like to intern at a station. So I majored in communications down there, specialized in radio and TV, and even kind of rewinding it back even more, I was involved in a TV production class in high school. Went to Gordon Tech on the north side. So that opened me up to what possibly could happen if my little hoop dream didn't work out, right? Because we all think we're going to the league when you're a kid. Oh, yeah, I'm going to the league, this, that, and the third. But my teacher, Miss Jody Pellini, who's actually still teaches, she teaches over at Eisenhower High School in Shepherd, TV production classes. She said, I see something in you. You should try this out. So I shook off my cool, trying to, like, nah, I'm good. And she was like, no, you should really try this. That opened me up, all right? So that domino fell into me going to SIU, playing basketball, had the major, so that all worked out. But what I'm getting to is that I didn't have the luxury of having an internship, right? So after I graduated in 2007, I had to kind of piece together maybe a few clips that I put together during my junior year, because I just took my junior year off from playing basketball. Because I knew I wasn't, I wasn't going to the league. I didn't want to go overseas. All right. I knew that my basketball years were kind of basically done. All right. So it was just going to be more recreation basketball after I graduated. Right. So I'm like, all right, cool. My coach at the time, Chris Lowry, who's an assistant over at Kansas State right now under Bruce Weber, was like, I understand what you're trying to do. I respect it. I admire your courage. Go ahead and do what you got to do. So I took that junior year off. Did a lot of TV reporting packages, even had the luxury of doing some commentary on a few basketball games like my junior and senior year. So I had some kind of reel that I can show people when I went to like a WGN, or NBC5, whatever it was, and, making the DVDs and all of that and walking up with that big ass envelope with the resume, with the DVD in it. Right, exactly. Yo, I went up to WGN so many times that the security guard knew me by name. Like, Cam, you got to stop, bro. Like, we know who you are. Like, they've got it. You got to stop coming up here. Really? And, like, let me know, like, all right, I mean, I admire your perseverance, but at the same time, you going to give yourself a bad name, bro. Because I was on it. I was on it. After I graduated, I'm young. I'm like, yo, I got to get it. That's that just Chicago mentality, right? Especially just being an athlete and a competitor. Like, yo, nobody's going to outwork me this, that, and the third. And I still carry that with me to this day. But it was more so the fact that just, like, yo, I'm super climbing out of the grave right now. Like, because I have no connections, no contacts, no internship. I'm like guerrilla style, going up to different stations and networks, just trying to open somebody's eyes. And of course, they're not going to give me a chance because I'm fresh, right? And what they're seeing is not quality work. I'll be honest about it. But what happened was, with Comcast CN100 Sports, I randomly one day, a year after just working odd jobs, working at like Best Buy, I went back to my old high school, was an assistant basketball coach there, had done some work with the YMCA, doing some after-school programs there. I just randomly one day just woke up about 6:30 in the morning, sent an email to the executives over at Comcast for Comcast CN100 Sports. Maybe about 5-6 hours later, they hit me back like, yo, we want to bring you in for an interview. I'm like, bet. And that started my journey in the business, right? But then within that journey, again, it's not full-time, it's freelance. And I started out as a grip. I was carrying camera cases, cables, all the grunt work. So like the bottom of the totem pole, like the bottom, right? And I'm looking at all the other guys that are on air like, man, that dude corny. I could be a lot better than him. But at the same time, I couldn't really say that out loud because they had the experience, they had the talent. I had to work my way into what I needed to be, all right? So trying to do that, not getting a steady paycheck from there, working at Best Buy, working at my old high school coaching, all right, working at the YMCA. I felt like I was a Jamaican, bro. I had like 4 jobs, like literally 4 jobs. And my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, was still supporting me. Even when we didn't have money to go out and go eat. She would sometimes pay. She reminded me of that now. Like, you know what I'm saying? All right, remember when I looking out for you? Like, you know, back in 2009? All right, now it's time to reciprocate it. No.
I mean, that's also how you know you got a real one.
That's true, though. That's true, though. I mean, she held me down, right?
That's
you know
the point.
And loyalty is always big for me. I mean, loyalty will always be number one on my list. But, yeah, just those dark moments of just doubting yourself, I fell into depression. I've been depressed. Like, I know what that's like. I know what it is to just wake up and not feel like you worth anything, right? Because your plan is not going according to your timeline. Okay. Right? You look up 2-3 years later and you're like, man, I should be doing this, that, and the third. Well, it takes time.
How did you work out outside of getting back to how you start to rise out and getting to success and getting gigs, but how did you mentally still in the depression start to work out of your depression?
My wife and my family. All right. So just having talks. That's the biggest thing. I've always been, especially when I was younger, kind of introverted, like holding things in, not really sociable, all of those things, right? But when I got older and I started to realize this, and my wife told me as well, like, you hold so much stuff in that it's going to eat you up and it's just going to explode one day on somebody that you love, and it's going to end badly. Right? Not talking about like murder.
But still.
Like that, but still, you know what I'm saying? Just in a relationship, exactly, dude. So it was one of those things where I was willing to talk about it and express what was going on and making myself vulnerable and crying, right? You know what I'm saying? So people make the misconception that, because you're a man, you can't cry. It's not that. Crying is a form of strength. That's just my belief.
I'm with you.
Right?
Yeah. You know it's okay to cry.
Yeah,
as long as you're just not doing it well.
Right.
Let me be a minute. Right. Do the drop of a hat. But even that's okay.
Cool good junior, like swinging.
But listen, if you get harassed, and we're going to get to Boys in Hood in a minute. If you get harassed, it's okay to go cry.
Definitely. When you go to that level, definitely, man. But it's a process. And I think that people make the mistake that, okay, well, I'm feeling down for this point. Maybe next week I'll start feeling better. And if you start feeling better, then it's not like the depression is gone or those dark thoughts or moments are gone. You got to continue to work with it, right? So picking up meditation, talking with my wife, talking with my family, praying, like all of those things help me on a daily basis. Either one of those things or all of them in some form every day started to pull me out. And then also what helped is success, right? I start to get more reps. I start to get more opportunities on camera. I start to get more eyes open to me, right? Some more eyes on me. Getting freelance work with the Big Ten Network, doing on-site reporting for them, doing some things with NBC Sports Chicago, doing color commentary for the State Boys Basketball Championships. Like all of those things is just kind of like reaffirming me to know that I have something. All right, just to continue the journey. Keep going. You're making the proper steps. You're doing it the right way. It's just going to take some time. Right.
Real quick, when you were in college and decided to take off your junior year, did anybody give you that advice, or did you? I know you said you knew you weren't going to go to the league and you didn't want to play overseas, but did anyone kind of mentor you in that situation? Was it family, or you decided, you know what, let me start to set myself up for the next one?
It was a combination of both, right? So Stephen Bardo, great brother.
Had him on the show a few times.
Yes. Outstanding work for BTN. Came down and spoke at our preseason basketball banquet my junior year. So I stopped maybe about 2 weeks before we were headed out to Alaska for the Great Alaska Shootout. That's when I decided to look, I'm gone. I can't do it anymore. Because I actually, maybe a week before I officially made it clear that I wasn't going to play anymore, I said I wasn't going to do it again. So I thought that, okay, well, maybe I just rushed the gun on that or rushed the judgment or made a quick decision. Came back, practiced a couple more days, and I'm like, I'm setting myself up. Like, this is not going to be smart. I'm not playing a lot because I played behind some great guards like Jamal Tatum, who was elected or nominated or selected, into the SIU Basketball Hall of Fame, Athletics Hall of Fame. Brian Mullins, the new head coach for SIU now, one of the best guards in school history. Tony Young, who played at Schaumburg, won a state championship, beat Eddie Curry back in 2001.
Not Eddie Curry.
Yeah, right, exactly.
All you got to do is rebound, jump.
Yep. And so those three guys, on top of a guy named Darren Brooks from the St. Louis area, who won back-to-back Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year in the Valley, in the Missouri Valley. The only other player to do that was Larry Bird. So, those are four guys that I'm playing behind that I knew I wasn't going to see any part of the court. That's just how it was, right? So it was okay, let me be realistic and just be honest with myself. Okay, my hoop dream is gone, so let me be smart. My parents always let me know, look, you got to look at the bigger picture. You're not just some one-trick pony, right? You got to be able to do multiple things. All right, so it was me talking to myself and then being honest with Stephen Bardo, who spoke at our banquet, was just look, have your options open, and kind of told his story about when his playing career was done. What was he going to do? All right, so he had some things open for him that led him into sports broadcasting, which helped him out. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, if Steve can do it, then I definitely can do it. So it was a combination of a lot of things. Yeah.
All right, real quick before we go into the topics, tell us about the first time that you were on air.
Ooh.
Your first hit.
The first time I was on air, I forgot to turn my mic on. Oh, I forgot to turn my mic on. It was a halftime interview. Oh, I take that back. That was the second time I was on air. So we were doing a game. It was Wheaton Academy. Forget the other team that was playing, but it was a high school football game. Hot as hell that day. It was the first couple of weeks of the football season. It's super hot in Chicago there around that time, right? Yeah. So I do my first hit. I'm super hyped. I knocked that out. I'm like, cool. Bam. It wasn't that hard, right? And mind you, I've been building myself up with reps because I would do post-game interviews when we do a highlight shoot for Comcast, whether it's basketball, football, water polo, whatever it was.
You're about, 23 or 24 at this time?
Yeah. Probably 23, 24, around that area. Okay. And so I'm super confident now. Man, I knew it. I could do it. Yeah, this, that, and the third. Pumping my chest up. Halftime comes. Got to get the head coach. Oh. I'm running. I'm running everything through my mind in terms of the questions I'm going to ask. If he responds, I'll ask with this, or I'll count him with this, and make sure that I'm looking at him, and just all these other things, all these elements that I should be worried about because I've prepped long enough. Because I've spent the night before just up, and even just weeks leading up to it. When I realized I was going to be doing a game where they booked me for the game to prepare for this moment and prepare for this game, I shouldn't have been worried about just all that little stuff. So we go on. I'm let's throw it down to Camron Smith. I got my earpiece in. I'm talking, thinking I'm doing a great job. And then my producer's in my ear turn your mic on. And I'm not, I'm new in the game. I don't do it in a nice little subtle way. It's little tricks to do little things. My dumb self took the mic away from the coach in mid-answer, turned the mic up like this, upward or upside down, flipped the switch, and then put it back in the coach's face for the interview. And the coach looked at me are you serious? He finished his answer.
Who are you interviewing? Who was the coach?
It was one of the coaches from Wheaton Academy at the time. At the time. So that was
Bump Wheaton's coach. No, I'm joking.
Right. So that was probably 2009.
Look at me now.
Right. So that was probably 2009, 2010, man. But he was a good sport about it. Finished his answer, and I think he knew that I was young, I was fresh. So what I'm saying, he didn't play me super bad. But it was just damn. that was the moment where I messed up. And like I went to like the cellar, man. I was hurt. I was like, went off air, went to like the side. And damn near just like, right, exactly. Get away from me. And one of the guys, Dale Van Duzer, came over to me, man, and patted me on the back. And another guy, Bill Funches, who was one of my mentors, just kind of picked my spirits back up. Said, look, it happens. Don't worry about it. Move on. Just like basketball. You make a turnover. You don't go in the corner and go cry. You got to keep playing. Just don't let it happen again.
Facts.
Right.
Wow.
Real quick. I was on Sports Talk Live like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Shout out. Great job, too.
I
Great job.
appreciate it. But wait, this is fun because it's funny when you're saying that, and I'm a person. So a lot of the things that you said, I have the same issue. Sometimes I'm outgoing, but I'm an introvert. I can be to myself. I do better, even if we're talking about discussion business wise, with just kind of sometimes letting go or whatever. But I had to find this place. I was running early, but then I was running late. I get there, Cam, and before I never got into makeup, and I didn't do a full pat down on my neck. So I'm moist on the screen. I'm moist. Now, this is the thing. I get home, and I'm talking to the old lady, and she was like, yeah, some, it started to dry up. And to be honest with you, if this was like 3 years ago, I would have been like, no.
Yeah, right.
But I just started laughing like I was out there like a slave. Right? Like I was like, because it was just like, again, like I'm going to get, hopefully it seems like I'm going to get more shots.
Right.
So it's like to not hold on everything. Of course I want to be a perfectionist.
Right.
I was leaving there with Eli, who I was talking to, and we were going back and forth about being on that day and just, compliment each other and whatever, because I'm always trying to dig deeper. But again, I didn't get this to anybody listening to this because I hope most people take this interview for people not just want to do anything in sports or media in general, but you can apply this to anything what you've done.
Yeah.
As far as perseverance, knowing what you have to do, don't lie to yourself. That's something I tell my son all the time.
Yeah.
Don't lie to yourself. That's how you really get in trouble, when you lie to you, all right, and you believe the lie. But I want people to take that away from it, that there's going to be some bumps. But if you keep grinding, you can get to wherever you want to be. You can get to the biggest stage in NY and stuff like that.
Yeah,
We're Chicago. We love Chicago. But I'm an honest Chicagoan. Some of us don't believe in markets.
What are you talking about?
You be like, I don't matter where you live at. Something's like that's New York City.
Wow, whatever.
But no, it's dope. Like that's a big to get to the end of it. It's really,
man.
and also you being a good person.
Yes.
It's good when the good people win.
Always
That's
been
a big
cool
part,
with us,
right?
too, man.
I mean, how many people have we run into in the business that are just, a-holes?
We talked about that
I was going to
earlier.
say, I'm not sure if we can curse, but
you curse.
okay.
Yeah,
assholes in the
yeah,
business.
you
Like,
curse.
we've run into even brothers, right? You think that, oh, man, you know what I'm saying, black man going to help me out. Or not in terms of giving you something,
No,
right?
but yeah.
No,
Right.
I don't want people to make the misconception I'm saying, okay, just because you're black, you got to give me this job. No, it's more so of just like, okay, well, can you give me some advice? And there's been a few people like that early in my career I went out to and tried to get their email and talk to them. I was like, look, I'm young. I want to learn. Can you help me with any tips, anything like that? And they played me. I'm just like, damn. Okay.
I don't understand that. To be honest,
Me either. And that's why,
understand
since that happened to me, I've always made it a point that anybody that hits me up, black, white, don't matter who it is, that I'm going to try my best to help them out. Whether it's an email, if you want to meet up, whatever it is. If you want to shadow me, I'm there to help out. Because that's what it goes into just my core values of just we're all on this earth to help people out.
I'm with
to
you
make
all
everybody's lives easier.
That's
so if I can do anything to help, I'm gonna try it. Right.
That's the one thing that we learned in broadcasting school. It was like, don't burn any bridges. Help out as many people as you can, because you know what? They might be hiring your ass.
That's true. That's true. That's
you might be
very true.
and it could be vice versa. You might be hiring them. You never want to burn any kind of bridge. I'm with both of you. I just don't get that when people do it. But hey, humans are humans.
Yeah.
D and Davis, the flip. Lucky enough right now, this is the Camron Smith episode. He's going to put out all the links for all of us to check him out on MSG 150. Again, it's going to be on from 8 p.m. to 10:30 p.m., but we may have to stream it, but we're going to support him.
Yeah, we're going to get them stream numbers.
I'm going to give you a Tony one. Just click on it if you just need to.
Just
All
get the click.
Just hit the click. All right, just so that
Click.
yeah, support. All right, so let's get into pop culture.
There we go.
One, because you posted that you waited a week to see Endgame.
I did.
Yes.
I did. The spoilers, dodging them joints is not easy.
Did you dodge
I did.
them?
I actually,
a gift.
And can we talk about what happened in Endgame?
Yeah,
Okay,
we
sorry.
already
Is
watched
it kind of like the
If your ass ain't seen it, you ain't seen
Okay,
it.
I
you,
bet.
it's on
So
you.
I actually ran into a spoiler that I hope wasn't one last Saturday, right? And somebody tweeted it out. I'm going through my timeline as we always do, and I don't know how I dodge spoilers by tweeting and just being on social media. But I'm on Twitter. going down my timeline, and then someone sent a GIF. I guess it was like a reaction, right, as to maybe white America saying that, oh, well, Captain America, when it was Anthony Mackie at the end, when Captain America gave him the shield, and now you're the new Captain America. Right. So it was just like this tweet where, like, you know, white America was just like, you know, well, who's going to be Captain America? And then they show Anthony Mackie's face, and then it was like, but you're black. And so I'm looking, I'm like, all right, I hope this is just a joke, but I think that's a spoiler. Damn. And then when I watched the movie yesterday, I'm like, damn, that was only one though. Yeah. That was only one. So I successfully avoided a lot of more potential spoilers, except for that one. But that was hilarious. Though,
all right. So what was your thoughts on the movie?
It was great, man. It was great. I saw it at 11 a.m. in Oak Park, man, and a decent crowd there too on a Friday. It was a decent crowd. Some people, you know, sobbing a little bit in those emotional moments when Iron Man passed away, and that was emotional too, man. Because I got an older brother and he watched it, and so me, I've always loved movies since I was a kid. Like that was my thing with me and my mom. Like my dad was just more so like watching sports. I watch sports too, but at the same time, like Fridays or Saturdays. I'm talking early 90s. You know how you go to Blockbuster, rent your movie, right? My mom would get popcorn and Raisinets, and we would sit and watch like the either Saturday night movie on HBO, which they still do, or we'll rent a movie from Blockbuster or rent something off pay-per-view. And that was like our thing, right? Yeah. So movies have always like played a big role in my life. And so I'm watching Endgame, and I go through the emotional scenes. I'm not going to say it, and I know that everybody is like, okay, well, you just said it's all right for a dude to cry. I didn't cry, all right? But I was talking to my brother, and he was like, man, did you cry? I'm like, no, I mean, I ain't cried. But it was emotional, though. But I heard some people sobbing. But it was a great movie, though. Yeah, it was a great movie from start to finish, man. I didn't do the smart thing, though.
You didn't go to the bathroom?
I did. I went to the bathroom. Oh, no. I went to the bathroom. But I picked a good time, though. Okay. It was a moment where, gosh. Who's the first guy that, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on his name. When they went to time travel, when he went to go back to see his family. And he's getting ready to go back in the house.
Hawkeye.
There we go. I don't know why I drew on his name. Right.
It's the family. He's not that important.
Exactly. That's why I went to the bathroom. Yeah. I was like, okay, well, cool. This is a good time for me to go to the bathroom.
So, you should do with the arrows? I don't even know. What happened?
I already know what's going to happen. Like, he's going to try and see his family. Something's going to happen. And, you know, he's going to have to get transported back to real time. So that was the moment where I went to the bathroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought the movie was epic but hokey. I thought it was just too hokey. One of these drones super fans came out.
That's your boy too. That's the D. Davis super fan.
D has a super fan. I'm happy he follows the show, but he has a super fan.
What is this, man?
It's just the truth of the matter.
Oh, come on.
Shout
to Shaka.
You shout out to Shaka out in the street snitching. But he came for me because I just said how I felt about it. I think Ryan kind of...
Oh, you going to try to pull it up?
I'm going to pull up what Shaka said to me because it's not the point. I want to ask Cam this question as far as was somebody on here dry snitching? And at that point, does it kind of cross a line?
Oh, Lord.
I'm just got so Shaka like being part of the show. Shaka, I'm going to make you part of the show because I could have lit your ass up on Twitter. But
Shaka met up with us at C2E2. Been down with the show. One of the first guys that ever like really reached out to us like, man, I really love your show.
So shout out to him being a fan. All right. Yeah. He said, yo, Demas, please allow that Davis to eat a Snicker bar because he was too critical regarding Endgame. LOL, Cap was good, worthy of Mirjanair, and was bound to happen. About to continue the podcast. 9.5 rating for the movie, which I don't get that movie now.
I actually saw that. I saw that tweet too.
Oh, I saw that.
I actually saw that. Really? I actually saw that.
Where was you at, bro? So
I stayed out of this one.
I waited till later, and I was like, okay. I was like, get that fanboy-ish fuck out of here. Haha, you gave Endgame basically a 10. Man, bias runs high. Cap an entire hoe, full-fledged beer. He was. Cat was a bitch.
Yeah, Cat was a hoe. And then little inspirational, motivational talks and all that. It got kind of corny. It's like, come on, man.
It's Captain America, though.
No, wait. First of all, you know how you can motivate me? You know how you can motivate me?
How?
When two of our leaders die, you still lead and stay here and don't go retire and live your ass on.
Yeah.
That's motivational to the mother.
And that's why I'm glad Tony went for his head, too. Like, basically, where was you? Like, Tony was like on his deathbed, still like giving it to Cap.
Yeah.
Like, where was you at?
Yeah.
Because Cap get to do Cap. You brought up how white America get to live off they do it. Like, Cap like, loudly down. I'm joking. But anyway, to get back to so then He comes back for me, and shout out to Shaka. And Shaka is like, at the end of the movie, I stood up and gave a stand. Did you give a standing ovation?
I did not.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate
But
that.
I did give my, that moment where they, mounted up and squatted up and everybody came out.
Yeah.
And they brought everybody back. When Black Panther, T'Challa came out and walked out,
too.
I couldn't hold it in. I was like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. I almost stood up. But I had to remember I'm in Oak Park. Okay. So I'm like, hold on. Angry black man in the theater. Call the police.
You would just stand up for that, wouldn't you?
Right. But that was the moment where I was like, yeah.
I got emotional when everybody came together. Like when they started, like I got slightly moist.
That was dope.
Because it was just like, this was the end.
You look a little moist.
Slightly moist.
I can diss it and still say there are parts I enjoy.
Can you be slightly moist?
Like,
you gotta be moist or not
wasn't-
moist. You can't be slight. You just messing. You making it even worse. You can't say slightly moist.
Moist. It was a light moisture.
It was light moist.
So it's a light drizzle.
Light drizzle.
Right.
But then he said he gave it a standing no. Yes, what other hiccups may come, Ken got to go to $5 Tuesdays and stay away from Cam, listen to Streaming Fire. And this is what he gets on. He says, stay away from cams. They're talking about cameras, I think, when people take Fire Stick movies.
Yeah.
Oops. Was I not to say that out loud? Hope you don't get in trouble by the law for bootlegging.
Damn.
Oh,
Damn.
Wow. Oh, that was a dry.
Also,
that was
damn,
Shaka, you know D has a Fire Stick too. While we out here, if I'm going to jail, D, you going right with me. Yo, fan.
So talking about Shaka snitching.
Dio
Davis.
I know, right?
So Ken like, yeah, it was him right there.
Right
The
there.
Monstworld right there.
I jailbroke one for that one.
Right.
But no.
Here's his address.
Yeah, but-
this is where his mama stayed.
Shaka's a very passionate fan. He's a very
okay.
passionate
It's
fan.
up- and it's-
It's all love. It's
Yeah,
all love. It's all love.
Celebrities read mean tweets.
I saw Larry King at dinner, but it might have been just a run-of-the-mill goblin.
Do you watch Game of Thrones? Nope.
Nah. You know what? I didn't watch Game of Thrones until this season. My wife is a Game of Thrones head. My brother is too. Like they were like going nuts the night of the Super Bowl.
Okay.
When they had the Bud Light commercial.
Oh, that was dope.
And when it
That
came
was
on, they stood up and were going nuts at the end. Like,
That
oh
was
yeah.
dope.
I
That
was
was
looking
dope.
like it went over my head. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Is that a dragon?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a dragon, right. So I missed season 1 through 7 and started watching season 8. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going back to go watch a whole 7 seasons. I'm not going to do it.
It's only got a season and a half to suck.
Before I walked out, I was upstairs just kind of like, chilling out, watching stuff on the laptop or whatever. Watching a lot of in-game kind of like, not recap stuff, but kind of like interviews with the cast. I just want to kind of, just hear what they had to say.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting ready to go downstairs to the bathroom like that. I walk down, and who's on my TV? Ned Stark. I said, what? I peeped around the corner. I said, oh, so you started watching Game of Thrones, I see.
Without you?
Well, I said I was going to watch it again. But yeah, I told you Chanel don't give a shit about me. She was like, I don't care. I don't care. You going to watch it? He's like,
Oh, she in the first season.
the first episode.
Okay.
And then me being, kind of cheap. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. How are you watching this? Like, we don't have HBO. And she's like, I keep telling you can watch on demand. You can watch anything. I'm like, okay, all right. So I'm like, all right, so you going to start watching Game of Thrones? So she's like, yeah, I'm going to try to get through this first episode. It's like, if I don't get through this first episode, I ain't going to keep watching this shit.
See, that's how I was.
I'm
She
like,
gets through the first season, she's
I told her.
hooked.
I said, listen, I said the same thing too because I got into it the season the off season right after the first season. You want to say like so the first season was done. Then I got into it because the guy we used to work with, he had read the books already, and he was like, man, you gotta watch it. So the first season happened, and he's like, did you watch it? I'm like, I ain't watching none of that shit. Dragons, slime, whatever. He's like, dude, I'm telling you, go watch it. It's like, all right, fine, Medi. Shout out to Medi. All right, fine, I'm gonna go watch it. And that last episode of the first season.
This will get you hooked.
You talking about how you wanted to stand up for Black Panther? When the last episode, I stood up and said, holy shit, what is this?
See, everybody was telling
What
me
is
that.
this?
They told me that I have to get through this first season.
season.
Get through the
But
first
that first
season.
episode, I tried to watch it. I'm like, man,
You just gotta get through it. You gotta power through it. You gotta power through it.
Not last week's episode. Like, obviously, I watched that and I was just like, after things, kind of came into clear vision, after you couldn't see through the dark, you're like, what is going on? I was the one with the remote trying to turn the brightness down and mess with the contrast. I'm like,
episode.
because my wife got pissed off at me. I'm like, I can't see anything, and I'm putting like the menu on the screen. She's like, stop, you
Basic.
messing
And
it
she
up.
loves this, and
She
you
loves
interfere.
it.
Wait a minute, this is a
I
conversation
did
y'all
that
want-
kind of like purposely. That was intentional too, just to mess
I
with it a
feel
little
you.
bit.
Conversation I'm gonna have
Okay.
50 years from now, y'all like older. It's like, I can't see this shit,
Yeah.
Cameron.
Yeah.
Oh, you be quiet, girl. But no, she started watching it, and I'm hoping. I told her, like, just get through the first season.
Yeah.
Get through the first season. I'm telling you, you're gonna be hooked. And after that, I've been hooked ever since.
Lamont, since you my man, I'm gonna try, man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try.
telling you.
I gotta try.
Some of these flights coming in and out on the
Yeah,
PJ,
that's true. That's
especially when you're on your PJ cam. You can watch whatever you want to watch, Cam. It's on the Camron PJ.
Well, y'all give me the number since y'all got y'all PJ first. Give me the number and who I need to speak with so I can get that deal.
Listen, you are 1 year away from starting to be like, they need to open Meigs Field back up. I like to fly right in on the lake when
Turn
I'm coming
full New York on you, right?
when I'm coming from the Big Apple.
That's a good idea. On some flights, check them out. You
All right.
can
Okay.
get through them because
All
that's like I've been in New York one time. About 2 hour flight, 2.5 hour flight.
Yeah,
to get
oh,
through
not
New
even that. It's more like an hour and a half, hour 45. So it's not bad at all. Yeah, real smooth, real smooth.
All right, one thing that did take place this week, unfortunately, due to a stroke, John Singleton passed. His family took him off for life support. We talked about a little bit about Cuba Gooding Jr.'s role in Boys in the Hood and the time when he came in and got some sex from Neil Long because the police harassed him. That's a good thing when the police harass you and you can get some sex out of it.
Man, cried his way into some draws.
Yeah.
Man.
But look, it's funny. I don't think back in the days, because we were all young, we realized how young John Singleton was when he put out Boys in the Hood.
We talked about it in the car.
And the thing too, out of all those movies, let's just say if it was a trilogy, Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, New Jack, and you could also put what was the movie when they was like we 2-1 Homes. You don't remember the
South Central?
Yeah, was it South Central? Maybe South Central.
I'm talking about Deuces?
Yeah,
Deuces? Yeah, South Central. Yeah,
Because that one don't get his props. That one was actually pretty good.
It was good, yeah.
But if I take South Central out of it, I felt like Boys in the Hood probably was the best out of all of them. Menace was the realest. New Jack City was kind of so fanciful to a certain degree, even though I do know they were moving drugs like that in New York.
I know you're bringing up black movies, but Blood In, Blood Out was.
But
that gets forgotten.
Yeah,
Blood In, Blood Out.
You're both right.
is-
I
yeah,
loved
yeah.
I loved Edward James Almost too. Isn't he in that movie?
I think he's in. I
Yeah, I
believe
loved
so,
it.
yeah.
But no, Blood and Blood Out was the shit.
Yeah,
That
that was a
shit.
great
definitely.
movie.
But to think about how he started Ice Cube along that line and movies and stuff, and how many people he influenced, and the things that John Singleton has done, I think we give a little props and a little talk about the films that we enjoyed of his, and some of the things that we take away from the success in that man's passing and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was crazy to hear. My buddy, who's an independent filmmaker, he's the one who told us about it, I believe. And he was like, "Yeah, man." He's like, he was saying like, "Man, John Singleton isn't like my favorite director, but looking at some of the stuff he's made, definitely has influenced my film work.
Higher Learning,
Higher
Shaft,
Learning,
Fast
yeah.
and
I
Furious.
mean, I didn't know he even did one of the
Too
Fast,
Fast, Too
Furious.
Furious.
I forgot all about
He
that.
did Higher Learning, Poetic Justice, and Boys in the Hood all before the age of 27.
Ain't that crazy?
That's crazy. You think about those three
Crazy.
movies alone and the cultural impact they had,
Yeah.
not even just in America and Black America,
Yeah.
but the world, though,
Yes.
right? That was a lot of people's first experience with Black America in the hood like that, right? Either in college and telling that story in Higher Learning from different perspectives, from Omar Epps' character, Malik,
Yep.
all right? And then even going with Christy Swanson's character who was raped in the college and then seeing her rapist around campus,
Yeah.
right? And then transforming, what I'm saying, transforming to a lesbian.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. But then exploring her sexuality with that. But then also the perspective of Remy.
Yeah, I was thinking, yeah.
Yep.
Like a loner that
Yes.
was looking to be accepted
Yes.
and got accepted by the wrong dudes.
And think about
Think
where
about
we're at
right
now.
now.
Right now.
Right now,
Yeah,
very poignant
yeah.
right now.
It still matters right now.
Yeah, and think about all the stars that he was able to birth out of these movies. You know what I'm saying? You had Ice Cube, you had Tupac, who was, saying they already had it, but you had also Janet Jackson. Right. But you had Nia Long, you had Tyra Banks, Michael Rappaport,
and he
Busta
had
Rhymes,
Tyra
Omar Epps.
I had to do
Omar Epps, yes. But no, we were talking about that. It was like, damn.
You got a young boy.
Yeah.
Tyrese and Taraji P. Henson too.
Baby boy.
Oh,
Baby
Baby
boy.
boy. Yeah.
But no, I was thinking about it like, man, it's crazy how young he was, because we were saying like, I think I had brought it up like, man, that means him and Cube were about the same age, and I think Cube is older than him,
But slightly.
Yeah.
but slightly. It's kind of like, wow, that's crazy. But no, man, I mean, listen. I remember, I don't think I was supposed to be watching it, but I saw Boys in the Hood probably maybe like on HBO or whatever like that came out.
Same here.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that came out, what, 91?
91. Yep.
91. So I probably saw it at 92, 10 years old. Probably saw
I
it
saw
at
it at the
92.
show.
You saw it at the show? Yeah, I probably saw it on cable, something like that, a VHS tape. But no, man, some of the classics he's made. Also, too, I didn't know this. They was talking about this when he had passed. Or maybe right before the news, saying he was on life support, whatever like that. Boys in the Hood got a 20-minute standing ovation at Sundance, and it outgrossed Terminator 2.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And you're talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And
Terminator
T2 was
2.
the shit.
And
Back when action was just like action.
Yes, yes. If I'm not
On
mistaken.
a motorcycle with a leather jacket on and a shotgun.
Yes.
I was reading an article the other day still defining that T2 changed cinematically how films are even filmed because just how different that movie was.
James Cameron.
Yeah, I was about to say, James, you're talking about James Cameron.
Yes,
He beat out
yes.
James Cameron.
That's
And the two
big.
of his movies are the top 2 movies of all time. I don't know about Endgame. Might be sneaking up, maybe get the number 2 spot.
Definitely, probably.
But no, man, John Singleton is definitely a legend, not just in black film, and it's a film in general. All his movies, the social impact of it, talking about, you know what I'm saying, when Lawrence Fishburne was talking to Cuba Gooding Jr. and them talking about gentrification. I didn't know what the hell gentrification was.
Right.
As we got older and you understand, you're just kind of like, oh, wow, yeah, that's a lot of things that he was talking about then in the early 90s. Maybe you could probably go back to whenever. It's still happening right today. You just said
100%.
with the character of Remy. So, but no, man, he made timeless
Definitely.
movies.
And I just think that image and that character of Furious Styles, who always was just like, people say like, yeah, you know, James Avery or James from Good Times or, you know, Bill Cosby doing the Cosby Show. Like those were like, you know, that was like our father, our black father, which I agree on that. But I felt with my generation, our generation, with Boys in the Hood, 91 when it came out, probably saw it like 92. Furious Styles was more believable, especially he has some of the same kind of characteristics of my own pops and how the conversations that I would have with my dad as I got older. So it was more believable to me to like view Furious Styles as my father, because not only was he not gonna, okay, well, you're here with me for the summer, you can do whatever you want. He, as soon as Trey got there, his mom dropped him off. It's like, you're gonna rake up these leaves, right? And I don't want to hear no back talk, right? But then when he set him down at night, he let him know why he had him rake the leaves or what his roles and duties are going to be, right? This is just how it is as a man. And he's trying to raise a young black man in South Central LA at that time.
So look, you're young pops and just going through that and talking about that. How have you seen some of the examples your father said? And let's not just say Furious Styles, but some examples that you've had in the past, and how do you try to implement them on your son?
Yeah, man, just being accountable is one of the big things. I've always wanted to make sure that I'm there for my son, physically, mentally, all of those things. So my biggest thing, especially if I'm traveling, I always try and make it back in enough time to where I can pick him up from daycare. So he sees me and his mother picking him up. All right, in the mornings we drop him off, so he just kind of gets that and he gets comfortable and used to that. Because I just don't want it to be just, okay, I'm around mom all the time. I want him to have that male role model, that father figure in his life, right? So from my pops, excuse me, the TV dads that we talked about, the movie dads, my grandfather, who had a huge influence on my life. So I just take bits and pieces from all of those men, all of those great men, and just instill them into me or put them into myself and how I want to be as a father, right?
How is it going to be now? See, we record on Tuesday nights, and usually by the time we record Dan Davis' show, which we're going to have you more on moving forward, especially since you can bring us a New York perspective of it.
Y'all heard that, right? Y'all heard that, right?
We're going to do it. You heard that. You remember that. But the thing is, one thing, I love Tuesday nights, but I hate it because I don't get to see my kids sometimes before they go to sleep. And that's the only day out of the week I don't see them before they go to sleep. So it's like, especially if I end up staying up to like 12 or 1, it's like, damn it, I wish I could see them. Yeah. And now with you traveling back and forth from New York, how are you going to work with that with your kid? We know you're not going to like it. Have you? And I know he's young. He's 2.5. Have you kind of had a discussion discussing it? Like, how's that going?
Well, discussing with him, obviously 2.5. He's not really going to be able to,
understand. Yeah.
But at the same time, my wife and I really haven't had that conversation yet in terms of what's going to happen, because we just don't know what this New York deal is going to be and what's going to happen. So when we come to that bridge, we'll definitely walk over it, patiently, smoothly, and make sure that we're communicating. But the great thing about being from Chicago is having supportive family in Chicago, right? So my parents or my mother-in-law, my brother, just, aunts, uncles that can help out and make sure that Lisa is taken care of. Right? So that's the biggest thing. So that's how we'll kind of attack it from that perspective. But it's going to be really tough. Right? Yeah. So if it's a situation, because the show is Monday through Thursday, so what happens is I'll fly out Monday morning, and then I'll fly back in late Thursday night. All right. So whatever happens in those 4 days in terms of how they're getting to daycare, how she's picking them up, or just so she doesn't feel that burden of all of this is on my shoulders. My husband's in another city doing his job. I don't have any support. And my family's going to remind her that, no, you do have support, right? So it happens every day. Even when I'm in the city here and I have to work. Like if she needs to get picked up or if Kaden needs to get picked up, whatever it is, she has that support. She has those resources to help her out. So
you make a way.
Yeah, definitely. You got to. You got to.
At the beginning of the film, before there's really any opening credits or anything, the title comes up and it says,
1 out of 17 black American males will be murdered each year, and most of them at the hands of another black male.
Is that why you did the film?
Yeah, actually. I did the film actually to show how the difference between what a responsible, open-minded black man would do in raising his son, and so I could contrast that to the way, his son's two friends would be raised just by their mother. And what we show in this film, there's a mother in the film who raises her two sons, and one she overly loves, and he becomes irresponsible and a teenage father. And the other one she doesn't love enough, and he becomes a gangster. And that's Dope Boy, that's Cube's character.
Is the story that you told in Boys in the Hood your own story?
Well, the story of Boys in the Hood is just a catalyst for me when I went to live with my father. I went to live with my father when I was 12 years old. My father whipped me into shape. Straight up, made me.
I did too. I was 14. Fathers have a way of doing that.
It made me mow the lawn and take out the trash, stuff like that.
Actually, one of my
I never had to do,
One of my favorite lines in the movie is when this whole audience, again, as has seen the film, is when Trey goes to live with his father, and the little boys are out on the lawn, and he offers them some money. The father offers him some money. Larry offers him some money to cut the lawn, and they say, and he offers them $5, and they say, "Man, who you think we are, Kunta Kinte?" I love that line. Well, I think that's what's so wonderful about your film is that it is I think just an excellent portrayal of middle-class black father, not lots of money, not driving a Benz, just a strong black man.
Just a hard-working brother that cares for his son and cares how his son is raised. And we need more brothers that if they're going to have a child, they have to look out for the well-being of their children.
All right, Prince's estate releases Originals album, his version of songs he gave to other artists. This is from Yahoo Entertainment. It's a rare singer-songwriter who can just give away undeniable hits like Nothing Compares to You, Maniac Monday, and The Glamorous Life. Now, I hope y'all remember who made those songs. Let's do a contest. Nothing Compares to You. Who sung it and made it a big hit?
Sinead O'Connor.
Thank you.
Oh, good call.
Who else? All right, just another. Well, it's not just. That's how the song goes. Maniac Monday. It's just another Maniac Monday.
I want to say Cyndi Lauper, but
no, it's like it's not the Go-Go's. It's either the Go-Go's or it's
Maniac Monday.
Yeah, I forgot. It may not be the Go-Go's. I forget which one. It's the other one. If
the
not
Bengals.
The Bengals. No, that's not the Bengals.
Song by the Bengals. Maniac Monday.
Okay. And The Glamorous Life. We all know The Glamorous Life. We don't have to do that one. But look, this is dope for me. I'm a Prince stan. Loved him.
Man, when he passed away, were we on the air or they came in that Saturday?
Ooh.
I don't know how I got a copy of that magazine. What was it? A copy of Vibe?
He's gonna say this to the day we die.
I was in my chair and he was across and I said, "Ken,
did everything slow down in that moment?
Yes,
it's
it
just
did.
like slow motion.
He said, "Oh shit!"
The purple mist came into the room. Yeah. Greatest concert I ever went to.
Yeah,
Word.
I mean, I love Prince,
and
but
I
I'm
was
not a Prince fan like
that
him.
day. I behaved bad that day
and got rewarded.
Yeah, because and she could tell. After took me.
Really?
And she could tell you.
I thought you talking about your mama took you.
Oh hell,
that's what I was thinking too.
Behaving bad.
It was a birth. Oh, at first back
I
in
was
the
about to
day.
say you was kind of young to go see Prince.
Ken looking at chapless Prince right now. What the hell is this?
Back in the days, boy, she used to give me some great birthday presents. Like they were off the chain. It was Prince. It was back to actually. It was one jumping out of a plane. And I didn't know till that day we were jumping out of a plane.
Damn.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but we had talked like, would you ever do this? So I didn't know we was driving out there. And then I finally saw a billboard. I was like, we about to jump out of a plane. But and then Prince. And that day I behaved badly. I was ready to go home, and it ended up being the best concert that I ever went to.
What you saying, man?
Rosemont.
I randomly was playing Purple Rain yesterday. I went to a wedding yesterday, and it was Friday. It was, I was feeling good. I'm like, all right, I'm about to go kick it a little bit. I put on Prince
As
and
you
had
should
it
have.
playing throughout the crib, man. Like
There
loud
you
as
go.
hell.
There you go.
Loud
That's
as
good
hell
music
from
right
beginning
there.
to end.
That's good music right there.
It's just Prince, man. Like it's somebody that musically and just how he thinks and how he performs and just his creativity and artistry is in a class of his own.
Totally.
Like you probably if you would have caught me when I was a young kid, like early 90s, mid 90s, and someone will say, who's your favorite between Prince or Michael Jackson? I'm like, Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
But as you get older,
yes.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you go through real life experiences or relationships, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And find out how dope Prince was.
How black
he
he was.
Right, exactly. Because you don't
Yeah.
know that at 7 or 8 years old. You know, I mean, you might see him playing a guitar. Like, does he really play the guitar or is it just a music video? No. You find out, no, he played the guitar. He played like so many different
All
instruments.
these instruments,
right,
basically.
all of them. All of them. And will preach to you too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, damn, no, Prince is actually that dude.
Yes, Prince
So
is-
you ask me now, 33-year-old Cameron, I'm like, yeah, Prince all day.
Man, I
All
feel
day.
you on that one. Wait a minute, so when is this album coming out?
The album's gonna come out June the 7th. It's a collaborative effort between Troy Carter on behalf of Prince's estate and Jay-Z.
Well, he did.
He said
he
he
talked
said-
to Jay-Z
Yeah,
before
man.
he had passed.
Jay-Z made it seem like that. I don't know if he had control, if Prince is giving him control, if he had bought it. But it still seems. The reason I bring it up is still see that Jay-Z still has some ties to it,
Yeah, 'cause
which
he
is
was
probably a
trying
good
to- he was gonna
idea.
get him on title, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
he was. I
It's
think
probably
that
a good
conversation
idea.
was being had about just trying to free up that music
Especially
and give
because
the rights to it.
one thing that Jay-Z is big on is artist empowerment. And we know
Yes.
from
Yes.
back in the days when Prince had the slave thing on his face that it was about Warner Brothers and him feeling like that they weren't giving him his fair share and they weren't necessarily giving him the control over his own music, and how long it took before he took the symbol down and became Prince again because Warner Brothers owned the name Prince,
Name,
basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but though Prince was so particular and very protective of his music, I don't think we would be getting any of this if he was still alive.
I'll say, the only reason
But-
you're
no.
you're right, but I'll slightly disagree with you. I think this is the one thing I don't want to hear. We all always hear growing up that Prince had a vault full of songs that he never released.
Right.
I don't necessarily want to hear those songs. But these are songs that were released, and some of these Prince did sing. Like Prince and
If he wrote them, he probably did do
Prince
cover 'em,
and he did Nothing Compares to You on the MPG album, I believe. Him and Rosie Gaines. So that was who I was gonna say. Rosie Gaines is the other person, but so he sung these songs.
Yeah,
so
yeah, I know,
they
I
were-
know,
So
I
I
know.
think it's fine compared to what he may have liked.
Right.
I think it's fine these compared to songs that he never put out or someone else never sung that were published before.
Do y'all know if his what was the place he lived in?
Paisley Park.
Paisley Park. Did they kind of make that to like a
It's
Graceland
supposed to
now?
be.
It's like a
Yeah.
museum
It's
kind of a
supposed to
little
be.
bit. You can
Is that
go
what it
in,
is?
It's
so,
supposed
yeah.
to be.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna go one day.
Oh, I know you gonna go.
I'm gonna go one day. I used to have family. Actually,
you
real
gonna
quick,
go.
my great aunt stayed right next door to Prince's mama. Literally. Right next door. Like I can come out, she'd be like, that's Prince's mama right there. She didn't seem like she wanted to be bothered. But it was like, that's my like it. Like she taught at the school that he grew up at, like right there in Minneapolis. My great aunt taught Prince. But shout out to Prince.
Favorite Prince song though?
Woo.
Favorite Prince song? That's kind of like a trick question because it's like trying to choose one.
I can't because I could say Purple Rain, but then I could go to something upbeat like Little Red Corvette, and just because of I got at least 5 hard ones before I can get like even
Yeah,
something like
give me 5. What's a 5 then?
all right, Purple Rain, Little Red Corvette, Scandalous.
That's a slept on song too.
Like
Off the
Scandalous.
Batman album because
Yeah.
people are like,
Yeah,
damn.
exactly.
No, that was a dope song.
Scandalous.
Scandalous is dope.
What else can I say? A Prince song that stands out to me.
Let me go ahead and go.
I share a record. There was another. I don't want to say "Die for You" because that's too easy. Maybe my brother. When Prince went through the period where it was right before the revolution left, and I'll just say because of my older brother who locked up. I used to like Alphabet Street, and I mean that's not one of my favorite Prince songs, but it's just the reinvention of Prince, and probably it's another song like "Scandalous" on Diamonds and on MPG album that I
Okay,
could say,
okay.
but it's so many for me to even try is not fair.
Okay, you got yours?
Raspberry Beret.
Yeah, I meant that.
That was the only time I felt like I wanted to play the guitar, just because they were vibing. You know,
Yeah,
hitting
I
the-
went
you
down.
know.
Yeah.
I'm like, woo! So Raspberry Beret, excuse me. Scandalous.
Yep.
It's definitely in there. What was the other one I just saw? Beautiful Ones. When he sang that
that's a
in
good
Purple Rain, I felt that. Like, woman,
Yes.
listen.
Yes. Yes.
If that man has to do anything else to prove to you that he loves you and he wants you,
it's just too much.
then you just, come on. You don't need to be with nobody.
Okay.
Right?
You got some
nobody.
you got some
All right,
goodies
so
right
I
here.
go with those. I like Sometimes It Snows in April.
I like that one too.
Because that hits me to a point where I lost a friend a few years ago, and it really hit me hard.
Okay.
And I put on that Prince song. I put on Sometimes It Snows in April, and man, and obviously knowing the background of that song, dealing with his friend that passed away.
I don't know the background. Can't tell us.
It's more so just on, at least from what I've got from it, was that it was a close friend that passed away, and just the lyrics of it.
Okay.
Right. And just talking about, how there was no one like him, or, it's going to be tough, just kind of, going through this. And sometimes basically like the good die young. Right. And so it's just one of those things that like sometimes it snows in April.
Okay.
Right. So that's on that
You
list.
got one more.
You
might as well just go.
I say Kiss. I just throw it out there.
That's
It's
a
just
good
as soon as it comes
Yeah.
on like that. Anytime that part comes on, and I'm just gonna let y'all know this. Anytime I hear that song, that part comes on, it goes that and Prince says, "I lift my leg up," and I'm like I'm Prince. Every single time I hear that part, I do it, man. So that's my 5.
All right. No particular order. I just had to type them down real quick. Kiss, Diamonds and Pearl. Diamonds and Pearl because my little cousin was actually named after that song. My little cousin Diamond.
You know it's a powerful song when you name a kid after it.
Yeah. Raspberry Beret, Darling Nikki, and Sign of the Times.
I thought about that. It's funny. Sign of the Times is cool. It's not one of my favorite
I
ones.
love them.
But then, like, when I hear sometimes, I be like, okay, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that for me or whatever. Because I used to, like, watch the videotape. Like, in high school, I got one of those VHS tapes of, like, from Controversy all the way until, like, the 90s or whatever. So I would just put it on in my grandma's room. And I'd be like, okay, I get Sign of the Time a little bit more watching the videos. With him and my T up in there or whatever.
But even listen to what he's talking about as we've talked about it before, growing up and being in
Money
in
don't
age.
matter.
Oh, that's a good
It's
one.
better now. And
That's a
remember,
good one.
he had
That
the
is a
Spike
good
Lee
one.
version on the box. When I'm as an older person, because when it came out, it was cool. But as an older guy now, here, Money Don't Matter is like, it's still going along with what you're saying,
Yeah.
pertinent today.
Right.
today.
And that's one of those things. As I mentioned, like as a kid, you would say Michael Jackson. If you compare him to Prince, like who was the best? Like,
Definitely.
Michael Jackson. But as you get older,
You realize
you
it.
have more life experiences and what Prince is talking about. Not to say that Michael
No
wasn't talking
dissing
about
Mike.
stuff. That Mike has some messages in his music, but not to the level of Prince.
He did.
Ooh, send those
Right.
ats to I'm with you though. I fight. Listen, I fight for Prince, so I've come along those lines anyway. Like it's not dissing it, but if we're talking about someone making something totally original by themselves, not dissing Mike. Mike is bigger than Prince. We're not.
Oh,
taking
yeah,
it-
100%.
We're not,
Oh,
about-
yeah,
we're not
100%,
dissing
yeah,
Mike or
right.
whatever. Mike is perhaps the greatest entertainer ever. I think Beyonce is getting close. I'm not saying that she's passed him or surpassed him, but Prince is something unique and very special unto himself.
Real quick, Sid, Ryan, y'all got something? Y'all got some favorite Prince songs?
So you give me 17 Days, Erotic City, Kiss, You Got the Look, with Sheena Easter singing the hook, as
He
the
was
kids
ready.
would say.
I know you like that erotic city, you freak.
Ratchet Davis strikes again.
It's a good song. Yeah, it's a good song. All right.
Go ahead.
All right.
It's,
Last one?
Let's see. Last one. Let me see. It's from the New Power Generation album. I can't think of it right now, but what? Damn. I'll get back to it.
All right. Ryan, do you have any?
I didn't listen to Prince like that.
Okay.
I still I've developed a lot more respect of Prince over the years, especially since he's passed away. So I need to actually do a deep dive on Prince.
He passed away. Was it 2 years ago? 3
I think
years
it was
ago?
3 years ago. 3 years ago. Yeah.
I know my buddies, one of my buddies, Anton, he's a huge Prince fan like you. Matter of fact, in our wedding, everybody...
Insatiable?
Insatiable?
No.
Everybody, the bridal party get to come out to their own song. They get to pick their own song. And Anton and Mila, they both love Prince.
I know what it is.
They came out to the Prince song.
Get Off from 1991.
It would be Get Off,
Yeah.
wouldn't it? Crazy thing. I got to cut you off.
Oh, well, go ahead.
I
Okay.
saw the Get Off video.
I ain't gonna run. Get off.
I saw the Get Off
that
video
was dope.
about a year ago, right? And first time I seen it was on Arsenio Hall. That's where I think Prince debuted it at, the video, I believe. Am I right, Sid?
Actually, I remember the performance at the MTV Video Music Awards in '91. You know, he had the famous butt cheeks out.
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, the video. I'm talking when he debuted the video.
I think you may be right on Arsenio.
Yeah. So, but
I remember the performance at MTV Awards when he did that.
The sister in Get Off, pound for pound. As a kid, I didn't realize it. Oh my goodness, is she bad? I mean, the perfection of beauty and thickness and petiteness at the right.
But that was Prince though. Not the but he kept.
He kept the bad one. He kept the bad one. He had a type, but he kept the bad one.
Yeah, he definitely had a type. He definitely had a type.
He kept it. But watching that, because she's an actress. I can't. If you see Get Off, you're like, oh, y'all remember her being in movies and TV shows and stuff. We were kids. Oh, but look, I don't think we saw this because I was like, man, she is as a grown ass man.
Right.
It's like she hits all the spots, the right spots.
I gotta look that up on YouTube.
Yeah, you gotta go in the bathroom, be intimate with yourself. It's like,
I didn't. But I didn't.
How would you describe your music?
The only thing I could think of, because I really don't like categories, but the only thing I could think of is inspirational. And I think music that is from the heart falls right into that category. People who really feel what it is that they're doing. And ultimately, all music is or can be inspirational. And that's why it's so important to let your gift be guided by something more clear.
All right. Here goes one that gets back to the lines of the flip.
What's up?
I didn't know you sent me this. I was going through the ones that Ryan has sent, and I saw this on the side of Yahoo. But then I went down the list, and I saw you did end up sending this. And I was like, he didn't send this one. Winnie the Pooh's Disney voice star Jim Cummings accused of rape and animal abuse.
What?
Yahoo Entertainment.
What?
Damn.
Cam, you wasn't getting out here without a real flip. I kept it clean because you got a new job. Want to keep you secure.
What? He raped what and who?
Winnie the Pooh out here raping, allegedly. Legendary Disney voice Jim Cummings, known for the characters like Tigger, Mickey Mouse's villains, Pete, and Winnie the Pooh.
I know he was still alive.
Is currently locked in a bitter war with his ex-wife, and she's claiming years of abuse by the star, including sexual assault, drug addiction, and animal abuse. Here comes a little excerpt from this. Wow. She says that after a kiss, Jim asked if she could see him leaking because that's what he would make me do when he touches me. What? Stephanie says she felt humiliated,
too nasty motherfucker,
and degraded in front of their children, and allegedly reported the incident to the L.A. County Sheriff, who advised her to get domestic violence restraining order. According to documents, Jim did not dispute the incident, but remembers it differently than his ex. The Disney star said that he was joking and laughing with Stephanie and that I touched her slightly on the butt. He says Stephanie gave him consensual hugs and says the whole incident was happy. He added that his ex-wife, who was much taller than I am and a larger woman, made no objection to anything. So I guess he was like, she could have beat my ass. But look, real quick. First of all, there's a picture of him.
Yeah.
He got a little freak in his face.
He definitely got it.
But this thing, it broke my heart. Out of all the characters that he did Darkwing Duck.
Darkwing Duck.
Darkwing Duck is a classic.
Yes,
it is.
Well, you know what the line is in that song.
Let's get dangerous.
Well, there you go.
So he also was accused of animal abuse?
Yeah, let me see if I can bring up that one as far as animal abuse.
What is he doing?
Also, he did voice in The Lion King. Let me see.
I didn't know the guy was still alive. Wait a minute. As you look at
the wife noted that they had a family puppy back in the day, and he beat it to like an inch within his life. That's what she's allegating.
So wait a minute. So I saw this on Yahoo this morning. Wow. One of the mothers from Teen Moms 2. I've never seen this show, but I saw it on Yahoo, and I think I saw something on Twitter. Their dog snapped at their kid, and the husband shot the dog. Whoa. So that obviously got out everywhere because I guess people still watch Teen Mom. Teen Mom is losing advertisers left and right. Whoa! Because I think one company actually advertised when it's something like for pets. Mm-hmm. They dropped, and then another company saw that. It's like, yeah, thank you for bringing this to our attention. We are no longer advertising on this show as well. So definitely protect your child if an animal is going to try to get to them. I don't know if you gotta shoot it. I don't know what kind of dog
gave that
it was.
dog to somebody that doesn't have kids. If that's the issue.
If that's the case, that's right.
But he's messed up the church's money.
Especially if the dog hadn't. Let me say this. Especially if the dog hadn't mauled the child.
He said it snapped.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand if the dog had mauled the child, someone kind of losing their stuff over that or whatever.
Right.
But if he snapped, and of course you want to teach the dog a lesson on why he shouldn't do that.
Right.
But if anything, perhaps that dog shouldn't be around children. You see that when you look up animals all the time. It's like not good with kids or whatever. So I mean that's a bit excessive. That is excessive, to say the least.
Right.
Sorry, going back to the story with Jim Cummings.
You're not gonna let this go.
I wanted to clarify what I said with the dog. He didn't actually beat it. He put it in a. This is what the wife said. Put it in a metal bucket outside when it was over 100 degrees outside, and left it out there all day to the point it was dying. His story version is he put the dog outside, put something over the dog that wasn't a bucket, based on the veterinary's advice for training a dog because it urinated in the house. So this was its way of teaching the dog.
So now the vet is like, so you're just gonna throw me under the bus
Yeah,
like
I
that?
know.
Because you know the authorities are gonna contact the veterinarian, like just to see if the story is true or
That's
not.
the sign of a sociopath, a psycho. Period. They always talking about people who they torture animals or like that. It's easy for them to then go to humans. He's crazy.
Yes. Anybody that did that
Yeah.
growing up, I unfortunately tried to help the animal. Luckily, no one jumped on me, but it was times it got close where it was like, "Why y'all about to do this?"
Fluffy.
Why y'all? And it wasn't even my dogs. And it's just like it's just sometimes you challenge yourself. Like I'm not gonna stand here and let something like this take place.
Wow. I didn't think that was coming.
But you know what? Before we get out here, let's whip into some sports.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
cool,
right.
cool.
Let's start off, unfortunately, here in Chicago. But since you're going to be a Knicks person, they're getting the whole NBA.
Knicks and
You're
Knicks.
like, ha, 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 guys at home. Look at what I'm doing. But what's the state of the Bulls, Cam?
We gotta go here.
Yep.
Do we really have to
We
go
got the
here?
state of the Bulls.
Yeah.
It's the X-rated part of the show.
right, exactly. Now we can really curse.
Right.
No, but I've been confused on everything that they've done since they've fired Tom Thibodeau, parted ways with Derrick Rose and that whole team that they had. I'm just confused.
You going back years.
Going back years.
Yes, you should.
And there's always one main ingredient to everything, right? And the main ingredient for the Bulls' failures is John Paxson and Gar Forman. Right?
Yep.
You can blame Thibodeau, you can blame Rose, you can blame Hoiberg, you can blame Boylan, but it all goes back to John Paxson and Gar Forman. Even to hear John Paxson, the quotes that I've seen, right, after they signed Boylan to a multi-year contract, is to say, well, yeah, he coaches with passion, and he's the right coach for this young team, and we're committed to him. When did you get committed to losing? This is my biggest thing. When did we start rewarding losing in not even just basketball, but just society? Like let me make sure that we all understand this. Not to say that, okay, you're going to win everything or everything's going to be success. You're going to have your ups and downs, your peaks and your valleys, right? But at the same time, though, you fire Fred Hoiberg and bring in a guy that was worse off as a head coach. Now, Jim Boylan has respect around the league. I get that. Longtime assistant coach, but he's just not the right head coach for this Bulls franchise. And for John Paxson and Gar Forman to back that is really just surprising to me and really just kind of confusing. It's like, where
Is it really surprising to you?
I take that back, right? Not surprising, but more just like y'all just gonna keep doing this, right? You're just gonna keep lying to us, right? Right? You're just gonna keep selling us on the fact that he has passion, he coaches hard. Does he win? That's the end of the day that comes down and matters. Does he win? And he doesn't do that.
Did you see any improvements towards the end of the year? The offense did work better. I'm with you. I'm not a Boylan guy. But I'm sure those are some of the caveats that they would sit there and propose and say, well, he took him along slowly and he broke him down and he built him up. By the end of the year, did you see any signs? Not to say he should be there, but at least it's like he's not as bad as what it seemed initially.
Initially, I thought it was just like, what the hell is going on? Like, who is this dude? Fire him, get somebody else in. Improvements were made, right? He started to establish his system a little more. You start to see the Bulls kind of get more comfortable in the offense, and that happens, right? When you bring in a new coach, they have to get their own philosophy in. Players have to get used to their voice, how they coach, how they're trying to motivate, all of those things, right? But at the same time, though, they still were terrible. It wasn't like the Bulls went on a 10-game winning streak. If they had something in as an example like that, and it's like, all right, well, cool. I see some promise. I see something. But it wasn't that. And it was the same kind of just regurgitated post-game answers from Boylan after every game. Well, I thought we played hard in the third and the fourth quarter. Well, I thought we played hard during stretches. Well, I thought we played hard in certain moments of the game. Yeah, of course you're going to think that you played hard in certain moments of the game. This is the NBA. It's a competitive game.
They're the best. They're the best in the world.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they're gonna play hard. Yeah. I just think that's a scapegoat for like, okay, well, we suck. I don't know what I'm doing. Please help. Right. And then a bigger thing within all of this multi-year signing him, again, just they signed him to a multi-year deal. So just let that sit on your brain.
You're right.
It's just not like a one-year deal. It's multi-year extension, actually. They didn't go through any kind of coaching searches.
Yeah.
They didn't bring in any other candidates for that position. Right.
Pax knew that was his guy.
Yeah,
I think
I mean, and
Pax
they kind of made that clear back in April, and Pax came out and Gar Forman came out and just said that, you know, they're committed to Jim Boylan because there were rumblings about him coming back next year and even beyond that. But at the same time, though, Monty Williams, who took on the head coaching position with the Phoenix Suns, Jason Kidd possibly. Yeah.
And one thing too,
Ty Lue probably going to the Lakers.
Ty Lue, exactly. But that's another candidate as well. You don't even have a coaching search to say, I like Jim, but what I heard from Monty and his maybe thoughts or his philosophy and where he wants to grow the team, man, I want to go with Monty now.
One thing I was going to say, it's okay even if you have this coach that you're going to keep to talk to other coaches to find philosophies that you can infuse with this coach.
Right.
Because clearly they have a hand on what this coach is going to do. This coach provides them more control of the team. So why not, as you just say, talk to Monty Williams about offense and maybe a different type of pace that you guys want to bring in. See what, even though coaching-wise he may have not been great, one of the greatest point guards of all time, Jason Kidd, may have to say. The same with Tyronn Lue being a championship coach. You should still try to consume as much information as possible. So why wouldn't you do that? You could still say, listen, Jim's our guy, but we just want to, and we in Chicago would be like, do that. Just talk to them so you can understand different philosophies that maybe you can acquire and put to your own philosophy.
But we are using rational thought.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
And looking over the past years, as you said, since Tom Thibodeau, it's probably been the best decision John Paxson has ever made. Hiring him, because Derrick Rose kind of fell into the lap.
Right, exactly.
That was the best decision that he's ever made, and I'm sure he's probably thinking like, well, if I found Thibodeau and he was an assistant for 20 years, I can hopefully pull the same thing out of Jim. We shall see. But we're talking logic. We're talking with reason. There is nothing since he has been there. I ain't gonna say disdain because I don't disdain any kind of human, but my unhappiness with the way he's been running the organization goes back into LaMarcus Aldridge and Tyrese Thomas. From that day, I was like, no.
He's like, I'm good.
I'm good. Now, other things kind of fell into their laps, but I was like, nah. So I'm not surprised that they didn't talk to anybody. That press conference that Jim Boylan gave the day Fred Hoiberg was relieved of his duties, I could just see the knife going in the back based on what he was saying. It seems as if he had a hand, Jim Boylan had a hand of pushing Fred Hoiberg out. Yeah. That's my opinion. It seemed like from that press conference, walking around listening to it, because I was like, damn, they about to fire him.
Fred knew
it sounded like, I know he had a feeling.
He could have got a job and he stayed.
But based on that press conference, it sounded as if Jim was kind of like, yeah, you know what? It wasn't working out for him. He wasn't doing it. Just it came.
We're gonna play harder. Just little things like that,
things,
right? More attention to details, things like that. So let me ask a question, and I'll go around the room, right?
Yes.
The first time everybody in here drinks, right? Liquor, right? What was the first drink that you had? Like that cheap stuff that you used to get, right?
I think I had some White Irish Rose.
Okay.
And close to legal, like Boone's, but as a shorty, like some Cisco and some MGG.
Okay. Ryan?
Smirnoff vodka.
Smirnoff vodka. Sid?
None for me. I never drank in my life.
All good. No worries. First one for me was Seagram's, Apple Seagram's, right? Freshman year of college at SIU, we were broke. Didn't have.
Where'd you go? Where'd you get it at?
What was the name? What was that? Pinch?
Okay, Pinch a Penny?
Yeah, Pinch Penny. Yep, went over there. So I asked that question because let's just say you were never exposed to any other alcohol for the rest of your life, right? And you continue to drink, like,
gotta drink.
Boone's Farm, right?
Bottom of the barrel,
all that stuff, right?
Still
You would think that's the greatest drink in all the land, right?
Right.
Because you've never been exposed to anything else.
Right.
Same thing for me.
Yeah.
You expose yourself to something new, and you have your palate grows, right? Right. So when you guys start to get exposed to different drinks, like, oh, okay, well, why am I drinking this bullshit? Let me drink this better stuff. That's how I kind of look at this Bulls situation, right? They just are so locked in on the Jim Boylan that they don't even want to expand or see what else is out there. Yeah. Let's just stick with him for whatever reason.
I got a question for the group because it looks like the only chance the Bulls have a chance to be a championship contender is if they get lucky in the draft and get a superstar that elevates them to a point. If they just get another supporting guy, and this is kind of the baby Bulls group again, they're probably just going to be a playoff team and nothing. So Paxson isn't going anywhere. Foreman isn't going anywhere until Reinsdorf makes a decision, and Reinsdorf doesn't really want to.
It's probably Michael Reinsdorf too.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to ask because Jerry's getting older. He's going to get to the point where he's either going to have to sell or just
They're not
going to
selling
pass
the
away.
He's selling the Bulls.
They sell the Sox.
He'd just step away. He'd probably just step away.
They're not selling the Bulls.
Yeah.
Does it become Michael just running it, and do we expect any change from Michael, or is this just going to be kind of it?
I think you are who you are. Like Michael Reinsdorf has been solid and 10 toes down on just his beliefs and how he wants to run things, and we see it from the Bulls, right? So especially when you're an owner of something, and we all understand this, like we might own cars, or own a home or anything like that, right? When you own it, you want to run it a certain way, right? If somebody came to you like, no, you should do it this way. I'm like, man, get out of here. You don't know what you're talking about.
I own this.
Right, I own this. This is mine. I'm going to treat it how I want to treat it, right? Unless you're wise enough to be like, yeah, well, that was some good advice. I don't see the owner of an NBA franchise like the Chicago Bulls and Michael Reinsdorf and the Reinsdorf family selling or either changing their just style of how they do things. I just think they're stuck in their ways and how they work.
It's one way that they will if people stop going. The only thing about it is they put on a hell of a production.
Yeah.
And it's cold as hell, and people want to go somewhere and enjoy something in the wintertime.
And it's always going to
Until
help.
that happens, it's not going to change.
And
That's my opinion.
It always helps when you're, probably top 5 in sellouts in the NBA.
the
And
team
then they have the All-Star game coming here in February. So
you go.
the Reinsdorf family like, we good. We're good. All we have to do is put on a great show.
They
We're
like the
fine.
5th most valuable team in the NBA, or something like that.
Easily.
Yeah.
Probably top 5, right?
It's either top 5, definitely is.
Might be top 3.
Knicks,
I think,
Lakers,
3 or 4.
Yeah, Celtics. Are the Clippers ahead of them?
The Knicks are.
I know the Knicks. I said
Yeah,
Knicks and
Knicks
Lakers.
and
Knicks
Lakers.
and
I
Lakers.
think
Yeah,
Celtics
Knicks
are
and Lakers.
probably
But they're
ahead.
they like number 4.
Yeah.
These 4 or 5
right there,
at
yeah.
least.
Like I mean, that's $5 billion right there.
Hey, listen,
basically, I mean, if you want to move that in like the next 5 years, you can get close. And in Chicago, this is another thing that helps you. You're also selling the fact that compared to some of these other franchises, they come here. Like you're selling this to somebody like, hey, they sell out in this bad boy. Not you have to do all this work. Now we may not know what the future is.
Right.
I'm with you. I'm with both of you actually. I think if Jerry passes, that Michael Reinsdorf as a human being may come to grips with, you know what, I need a little bit more help, and it's time to get another voice in here. I don't know if he'll go the full go though, because I feel like Paxson will always be there because he's basically a family member. If you really look,
He can
at
stay
it.
there. Him and Kenny Williams can stay there as long as they want.
Yeah, so I
and
think
Pete Myers.
Yeah,
And Pete Myers.
Pete
Yes.
Myers, right.
Yeah.
He still got a job.
Yeah, so it's actually sad. And then out to another point of yours, when we keep saying like who they get in the draft, there's only 2 players really they can get in the draft that can change their fortunes next season. That's Ja and Zion. Like for real. Like it'll be, I guess if they end up at 3, I guess maybe it'd be interesting to see what RJ does here. But I mean, and you already have a shooting guard basically, even though you can run him out at 1. But if you look at it, if you get Zion, you already know it's box office. But for what they need, if they get Ja, the crazy thing is this is what makes me mad about the Bulls. If they get a good pick this year, it's damn near going to absolve them just like Derek did of all their fuckery.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like, wait, what the fuck? I told you this is
Right,
what we was doing.
exactly.
I told you. I told you.
Fell in our lap again.
And he's going to be out there, look, I set this up. I did this. We got him. Look at us. It's like, nah, you fucked it up.
That's
But
why
you know-
we didn't trade Paul Gasol at the trade deadline.
And I'm upset about that because we were all blinded into Rose coming to Chicago and forgot about all just, the
He almost got
bullshit.
fired then.
Yeah.
He was
yeah.
close at that point to
Yeah.
getting his ass out of there.
Yeah.
And luck had it, boom.
Who would you rather take if you had the number 1 pick, Zion or Ja?
I like Zion. I'm just not sold on Murray State guards. Like we've had 2 here in Chicago and they have not
Very
panned
true.
out. So Isaiah Cannon, all right, campaign. I don't know what it is. And not to say that Ja Morant is on their level. He's at a higher level than those 2, right? Just in terms of how he impacts the game with his passing, his scoring, his rebounding, all of those things. I'm just not sold on him in that big stage in terms of who he's playing against. Now we saw in that first round game, which they beat, Marquette. They beat Marquette. Next round they play Florida State. Struggled mightily, and that was against size and length, and that's all you're going to see in the NBA, right? You're going to have 6'8" guys checking you, right? Going to the rim against 7-footers, trying to score, right? So I would rather have a guy that's been proven that he can physically maintain his body in terms of just the physicality of the game, and also be able to score at the height that where he scores.
Are you
right?
worried about Zion getting hurt though?
I mean, you can say that about anybody, right? I just want him to just tighten up his body a little bit, right? Just lose a little bit, maybe 15, 20 pounds, whatever it is, to be able to sustain 82 games. Because at the way he's playing now, it's going to be really difficult. Not to say that he can't do it, but still it's worrisome that when he does have that injury, which whether it's a sprained ankle, whatever it is, with that weight and that force coming down on it, what that result is going to be. Because we saw it against North Carolina,
it
right?
scares me.
You thought that his career was probably done the way his leg buckled.
No, I think LeBron James is an anomaly as far as his health. I mean, outside of this year or whatever, being that freaky. LeBron James, for me, pound for pound, is the greatest athlete ever. He's not the greatest basketball player for me, but physically, if I match him up with speed, size, everything, it's like, look at that. That big thing moves, right? And then you have something in Ja who is similar. He's not like LeBron James. He doesn't necessarily have the skills that LeBron has, the refinement that LeBron had coming into the league. But I worry about, again, being a little bit heavier. And if something gives, because in all fairness, as freaky as LeBron has been, you would think maybe an ACL would have gone out at some point. Not saying, and you're right, it doesn't necessarily have to happen or whatever. But that's my only hindrance, not to try to put that on him or whatever. And then with your Ja thing, you're right. I mean, even when you're talking about, when my only complaint is him in the lane and how people are like, man, you can get to the rim. It's like, you're not going to get to the rim like that in the league, especially bouncing off a cast because he's real thin. I think he will, like you said, I think he will be better than the Arthur Murray State guards. First of all, campaign don't count. Campaign was just dancing with Russ and got famous, and it's just like, that's another thing about Paxton and Gar Foreman. The fact that y'all brought campaign here and was like, this gonna work, y'all, and it was trash. It's disheartening to say the least, as you just said. All right, let's go to the playoffs real quick. Portland versus Denver. Going into that series, who'd you have winning it, and who do you have winning it now?
I had Portland. I still have Portland the whole way. I mean, just Dame is just riding a high from the OKC series and what he was able to do. I'm just still not sold on Denver. I love what they have in terms of the talent and the young talent, but Portland is just another beast, man. I can't see them dropping a game in Portland, right? So they go back to Denver. They'll be up 3-1. This is one of those things where you already have the confidence of going back and you've gotten a game in Denver, right? Just close them out and finish them up. And you know that Dame, when it's time to kind of close the team out, he's going to do his thing. He's going to be Dame, right? So I've always liked Portland.
Is he on your first team this year?
No, I wouldn't put him first team, but definitely second team.
Okay, so you got Steph the first team?
Yeah, I would go Steph, KD, definitely Kawhi, Giannis, of course. You got to throw him in there, and I would throw James Harden. Like you have to throw those names in there, right? So that would be my first team.
That's a good first team.
Celtics versus Milwaukee. At the beginning of the series, I felt that the Celtics kept the same energy from the last series that they should be able to win. I won't even say they lost that energy, but Kyrie didn't necessarily perform the game before last, and now it's kind of like, oh, Kyrie, you at least got to give him 17 up in that bad boy.
Right.
What's your prediction? 9. What was your prediction going into that series, and what is it now?
Well, I still have Boston winning it.
Okay.
I think it'll go 7 games, though. I really do. I think the Boston, Milwaukee series will go 7. Philly, Toronto will go 7.
Who do you have winning that one?
I have Toronto.
Okay.
So I have Toronto, Boston Warriors, NBA Finals. Woo! But I just think that Boston has enough to get by Milwaukee. Milwaukee's just too much Giannis.
I'm with you.
As great as he is, it's just too much. I don't think
it's a lot, though.
Yeah, it is a lot. It is a lot. But
it's
Boston,
early, though.
Boston has the pieces in terms of the wings to match up with him and to slow him down.
Yeah.
Right now, obviously, Boston is down 2-1 at home. You got to believe they're going to come back and win the next game, Game 4, to go back to Milwaukee tied up 2-2 going for Game 5. But at the same time, it's one of those things where with the Celtics, they have enough on both ends of the floor to give Milwaukee fits. I'm just not a believer in the Bucks. I've never been a believer in them, and just in terms of the pieces around Giannis. Right? They need another star around him to help them
to win. I mean, listen, they could get out of this series. They're up 2-1. It's not impossible, but going along with you, they cannot win a title like this.
Right.
Like they can't.
Oh,
so you
no,
have
no,
Portland.
no.
You have Portland versus GSW. Then.
Yeah, against Golden State. Yeah.
How many games do you think that'll probably go?
It'll go 5.
Okay,
it'll go 5. Right. Golden State's just on another level, man.
They are.
You look at Kevin Durant averaging 35 points right now. They haven't lost a playoff road game. They will lose tonight. Then I think they'll come back and win Game 4, and they'll finish it out and go to State in Game 5. But they are dangerous, man. And Steph isn't even really Steph yet. right?
He's dealing with he had his dislocated fingers.
Middle
His
finger.
guy hand is
What you say?
is dislocated. His guy hand. His fingers
And then Clay had the
ankle.
He had the ankle.
And so Clay has kind of struggled here and there. Like he's had a couple of games where he, woke up a little bit. But at the same time, it's one of those teams where once they start clicking, which probably will be against Portland, right? And we know what it's like going to play in Portland, what that atmosphere is like. Those guys get up for those games.
Yeah, dude. Draymond's back.
Yeah, and Draymond's playing well.
Yeah,
Dropped 23
He's
pounds.
doing his thing.
Yeah, he's back to the old Draymond.
Is it safe to say that they're moving a little bit better without Boogie? So I think after when that injury happens, like, okay, they just go back to the way he was killing everybody before.
Look at the starting lineup.
Yeah.
Steph, Clay, Draymond, KD, Iguodala.
Yep. The Hampton
That's the
Five is
five.
back again.
Yep.
For the last
Spacing,
time.
floor spaced out. Right, you got Draymond throwing lobs to Iguodala once you catch it mid post.
It's like
free
what
throw
can
line
you,
area.
What can you do?
You're right.
Right?
It's tough.
It was
It's
like,
tough.
that last game, and actually Houston gave him some go, but it was like full-fledged GSW. It was like, oh, you can't come on with this. You can't
They
compete with
didn't
this.
have I didn't think they had a shot based on the Ariza being not there this year.
That was a big loss.
That was a huge loss for them, just from the defensive side of things, and also too he can kind of step out, and hit you some of those threes. It just ain't the same. The Houston team is just not the same. Yeah.
Cam, do you think Houston is still the best or the toughest matchup for Golden State out of the remaining teams left?
In the West or just entire NBA?
Entire NBA.
I don't think so. I think Toronto will give them more go than anyone else.
More
Even
than
though
Boston?
I think so. I think so.
I think Boston can throw more waves at them though.
They could.
They deeper.
They could, but Boston has some internal things going on right now. I don't really think them dudes like each other.
They
like
don't.
that.
And
I think it starts with their leader in Kyrie.
It's easily it starts
Right,
with Kyrie.
it starts with him, right? Yeah. So I just think with Toronto, and you look at the guys on the roster for the Raptors, right? They've had one of the best benches in the NBA for the past 3-4 years.
Yeah.
now,
Yeah,
right?
I know they gave up a little bit of it.
True.
Right.
Kawhi's averaging 31 in the playoffs. Right, you got Marc Gasol, you got Kyle Lowry, you got Danny Green, and even just mentioning Kawhi and Danny Green, champions with the Spurs. So they know how to win, right? You have a guy, a veteran in Kyle Lowry. You have a Marc Gasol, a post presence,
Kyle
a big.
Lowry, though.
Yeah, it's Kyle Lowry. At the same time, though, I'm not going to say that he's going to be out there just, giving Steph the business. That's not going to happen. But still, I'd rather have a guy like him at that point guard position to try and help out and do some things as opposed to a George Hill for Milwaukee.
I got a hot take. Steph going to lock Kyle Lowry down. Real quick for an update with the Raptors, Pascal Siakam is doubtful for Game 4.
That's gonna hurt. Then.
Yeah, that's the second punch right there.
That's gonna hurt.
One. So
I said Philly and Boston in the Eastern Conference.
Just
want to make sure.
Yeah, that's it, man. We definitely let's get back real quick. Let everybody know where they can find you on Monday moving forward and what you have going on.
Social media, all that.
All that. All right. Social media, Camron Smith. No E in Cameron. Camron. Camron. I know how to spell my name. Smith. You can find me on there. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. And MSG 150. Monday, it all kicks off, baby. Shining. 8 p.m. 10:30. All right, that's Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. to 10:30. It's going to be a lot of fun. Me with Bill Pito, Monica McNutt, Alan Hahn, John Wallace, all right, Julianne Vianney. It's going to be fun, man. So catch us Monday through Thursday, just doing something innovative. I know
what you be doing with your daytimes?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Fine. You talking about
Like
New York?
between
New York.
after he's there till Thursday? Because it gives you a wonderful opportunity. And now, clearly you got the creds to get into a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Explore
true.
New York a little bit more.
A little bit more. I got some family out there.
Okay.
So
Nice.
a couple of friends.
What borough do they live in?
One's in Harlem, one's in Brooklyn. Actually, two are in Brooklyn, and one's in Harlem.
Okay, speaking of gentrification.
Right.
Yeah. I told you I'll get that brownstone in Brooklyn.
Right.
All right,
But I appreciate you brothers having me on, man.
no
Thank you
doubt.
so much.
Anytime,
man.
man. The door's always open.
Thank you.
Listen, if you ever got something you would want to say and look at us and like, hey guys, I want to say it there, we're always open and willing to have you on.
I appreciate that, man. That's
Hey,
love.
make sure you follow us on Twitter at D and Davis Show. Once again, it's at D and Davis Show. That's Twitter and Instagram. Facebook.com/D and Davis Show. You can download the podcast, subscribe, rate, listen, all that jazz. And we a lot of places now. We on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Music, Stitcher, Spotify, and YouTube. So definitely check us out there. I'm on Twitter at Demons1. Ken is on Twitter at That's Davis. Executive producer of D and Davis Show and D and Davis The Flip, Ryan Bukoveski. Ryan's on Twitter at Ryan B. Ski. And our main man, always contributor to WeAreRegalRadio.com and D and Davis Show and The Flip. One Mr. Sidney Brown. You can follow Sid on Twitter at SidKid80.
Listen, props again to Cameron for getting this next move in his life. And this is just going to be one move. There's going to be more. Look forward to 10 years seeing you somewhere shine and be like, I know him.
I appreciate
definitely.
that.
Shout out to
Thank
Jason Goff with his extension with ESPN. Shout out to Montez going to Georgia, doing sports anchoring. And again, shout out to Eli with his gig with our radio.com.
And even outside of sports a little bit, but still within it, our big homie Lawrence Holmes just got his master's.
Shout out to Lawrence getting his master's.
Graduated down there in University of Alabama.
Yep.
As you like to say.
Roll Tide.
There you go. But no, shout out to Lawrence, man, and his accomplishments as well.
So look, make sure you check out Dan Davis' show. We'll drop that on Wednesday. Who do we have already? Seem like that we probably. David Schuster's probably going to be on there.
Nice.
He's just recording in the other room. He was just recording in the other room. Always listen to 670 The Score and support 670 The Score because Mitch looks out for us. So we'll always say that when we're on
There
here.
you go. 670 The Score.
And then we'll be back next week with the flip. We'll probably have on guests, but we'll let you know sometime during the week who the guest will be. We always appreciate the support. Yeah, you too, Shaka. And just jokes. We appreciate Shaka. And definitely don't do anything stupid before you hear from us again.
We gone.
Keep your hands to yourself.
The flip.